Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Gary. I hope you've all had a good week. I hope you have all had a great weekend. So welcome back to the Sunday Club. I haven't done one in a few weeks because of, I'll be honest with you, I've been away. Some of the games are on Sundays. It's just, I think there's been 2 or 3 weeks where it just hasn't worked out. I mean, it's worked out quite well in the sense that I'm now doing this after England have won both tournaments this summer, and that is, of course, the under-21s Euros and the Women's Euros, and we are back-to-back champions in both formats. And I'm coming straight in here and saying I owe everybody, not an apology, but look, I didn't keep the faith. I really didn't. Both the under-21s and the women's, the Lionesses, I didn't think either of them would retain the title. I thought the under-21s had a better opportunity and a better chance, and I thought they were coming into it in better form and all that sort of stuff. So, I had more faith in the under-21s. I had no faith. I had no faith, and I don't mind admitting it. I had no faith in the Lionesses retaining their title, and you could argue that actually we were very fortunate to do so, but I was thinking about this just before I was going live now, and I understand what people are saying in terms of, England were lucky and all this stuff, but you can't, honestly, we need to talk about this now, because you can't be lucky that many times without you doing something right. Something is right. Something is embedded in those teams, particularly in the Lionesses, that gets them over the line in difficult games. And what really sprung true during this summer is what the Lionesses campaign at the Euros mirrored exactly the same as the men's, didn't it? In terms of the performances, last minute goals, penalties, all this sort of stuff. It was almost excuse me. It was almost, in terms of performances and the way we played against some of those teams, like for like. It really was. And then we met Spain in the final as well. There was so many similarities between the men's and the women's Euros. The difference is the women's got over the line, the men's didn't. The men's just did not. And ultimately, my biggest question tonight is surely now at some point, we've won across all formats, and all of this has come about since St George's Park has been built. In the years since St George's Park has been built, both at youth level and at women's level and at men's, even though we haven't won anything, but across all levels of the English football, whatever, framework, we've done considerably better. So that has been, let's give the FA some credit, because they got it right. They got it right. You could argue it's probably many years too late, because ultimately they built it based on what the models were across the continent before. So we were chasing, as it were, but it's already had a huge impact. But yeah, it's just the men. It's just the men, isn't it? We have just got to get over the line. And obviously the question now is, given this continued success, sustained success is the key. Now, these aren't one-off successes. It's becoming sustained successes across the women's and the men's youth teams as well. And the men's senior, in terms of reaching those back-to-back finals. I need to change my ticker. I've just seen at the top, so don't worry. I'll have a look at that. We need to... Can we now finally get over the line, is what I'm saying. Can the men finally now get over the line at the summer? And I've still got my doubts. I mean, I would argue that the men's senior tournaments are much harder. They're much more competitive. There's much, well, maybe not the under-21s. The under-21s, I think, are equally as competitive, but we know it's a very big ask, and it is a very big ask. There's no doubt about that. Let me just look, see if I can change my ticker at the top. And I will come to the chat. So let me know how you all feel. What's your feelings on this summer? Do you feel like, England surprised you? Do you feel like, actually, we did exactly what you thought we were going to do? It's just been a mad summer. It's been an absolute mad summer, and I've loved every single minute of it. Let me change that. So there we go. That's done. So going to the chat, JT, hey mate, Andrew, nice to have you with me. Calvin van der Word. I'm very grateful I picked England in this tournament and they won. I was worried it would be like 2023 Women's World Cup. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, look, I'm a firm believer, and I came into it saying that Spain are the best team in the world. And I'll be honest with you, I still believe that. I think technically they're still the best team in the world. They play the best football. They're going to dominate almost every single team, but England have got that winning way. And experience definitely showed. I mean, the penalty shootout, it was night and day. It was women versus girls, wasn't it? Far better at penalties. Charlie, evening, mate. Andrew Joyce, 2 Euro final losses, 2 women's Euro final wins, 2 under-21 finals wins in the last 4 years. Exactly, mate. Exactly. And look, there's no coincidence there. People can say, well, how can just a training centre in the middle of the country have had such an impact? But they can't. It can't just be coincidence, can it? There's something about the way the England FA have now set things up. Just the way it's come about. Look, St George's Park has been a roaring success. Seems like the problem with England men's happens across all teams, yet the men's are the only ones who can't get across the line. I think the disappointing one for me is not the fact that we haven't won the World Cup. You know, it's a phenomenal ask to go and win the Men's World Cup, and ultimately we haven't won the Women's World Cup yet. You know, the World Cup is a different kettle of fish. But I think for the men to have not won one of those 2 European finals is the real pain in the arse, really, isn't it? Particularly that Italy one. We've gone on about it before on this channel. For England not to have won that at home is still, oh God. Damn Italy. Damn them to hell. But yeah, it's... look, the World Cup, England aren't going to be the strongest team there. They're not. We know that. But, and this is the big but, the men have shown, at least under Gareth Southgate anyway, but the men did show at last summer, we don't have to play the best football. We've got the quality in the team to produce those magical moments. And that's all the women's did. That's all the Lionesses did this summer. They just make themselves incredibly difficult to beat. Even with a poor defence, they were very difficult to put down, or too hard to put down, let's be honest. But it's going to be a massive ask to win the World Cup. Rolling Stone, we should have no difficulty winning the World Cup next year. We have a midfield who has the best passing and vision in world football. Do you really believe that, though? Look, I'm a firm believer we have got a strong team, and we will have one of the strongest teams at the World Cup. But I'm not sure we've got the best midfield in the world. I would possibly look at Portugal and France, and I would put them ahead of us. Great job for women under 21, says Dom Deng. Hey Gary, do you believe England can beat France under the new coach in 2026? Absolutely. I think England can beat anyone. Look, let me put this out there now. England men's senior team can beat anybody. But it's what the difference is, right? And this is it, really. This is where it comes down to. It's not about who's the best on the pitch of those. It's those fine margins. It is those finest of finest margins in the tough games, the women's knockout rounds, the under-21s. It's those finest in the men's senior team. We've never been able to make those go our way. We've never got those fine margins right, and it's so minuscule. It's not missing penalties, for example, when we play France in the quarterfinals. It's not losing a penalty shootout. It's the finest of margins, and that's how far away the men's senior team have been away from winning a title. And you can say it's a flip of the coin, but it isn't. You can prove that certain teams will consistently get over the line in those fine margin games, and the men's senior team haven't done that yet. They just haven't. Dom, exactly. You need some luck, mentality, and quality to win a World Cup. You definitely need luck. No matter who you are, you definitely need luck to win. His name is Adam Wharton. He is a throwback to the old school midfielder. Yeah, he's not. He's look. Don't get me wrong. He's great, but we don't want to put too much pressure on him. Adam Wharton is on his own not going to win us the World Cup, is he? He isn't. These upcoming international breaks that are in close succession will be so important for us. I go back to the Serbia away game. The Serbia away game is huge, guys. Huge. It's coming up. That's our World Cup. That's our World Cup in the balance. It's either we're qualifying absolute ease, or it's going to be potentially quite a difficult qualification group for us. So Serbia away game is key. Serbia and Albania joining the last game has done us some favours. I don't think we have a chance next year, says Andrew. I can see us failing to qualify under Tuchel. Oh, bloody hell, Andy. Don't go that far, mate. I mean, Tuchel. I mean, Don and Andrew there going back. I can see what you mean about Tuchel. At the minute, he definitely does appear out his depth, doesn't he? He has not got it right. He really hasn't. In fact, he's got it massively right. I mean, we've been poor, haven't we? Very poor in every game. Every game he's managed so far, but I don't know. Let's wait and see. 1 second. I agree with Andy, says JT. Calvin, what about the United States? Will they win it in 2026? We are laughing stock. We need improvement. The thing is about the US is, even though they've probably on paper got the strongest team, they're not the strongest team in terms of how they play as a team together. Calvin, I don't know if you've seen, check out my video on the 3 home nations that I've done. I've done a video on US, Mexico and Canada. You'll see it on my list. It's a few videos down now, but I give my opinion on all the 3 host nations, and I think the US are going to struggle the most in 2026. I think they've been struggling the most for form. I think they're going to have the most amount of pressure on them because I think for some reason the US fans, possibly because they've got some individual players playing in Europe, but for some reason the US fans automatically think they're a great team. But I think now the pressure's going to be too much for them. I think Canada play much better as a team. Mexico have had more recent success. So I think at the minute, US are playing catch up a little bit, really. But look, home nation, home team, US, Mexico or Canada could quite rightly go on a good run at the World Cup. That's what a home tournament can do, really. So it remains to be seen. I'm glad England will be avoiding all 3, if I'm honest with you. I don't like playing home nations at all. Dom, honestly, a last 16 finish would be great for the... Oh, yeah, it'd be massive. Be a great performance, that would. Absolutely great. I'll be honest with you, Dom. It's the easiest World Cup, though, to get out of the group. Because of the amount of teams that are in it, you win one game, you're out of the group, basically. Obviously, there might be one team that doesn't, but, yeah, it's going to be so easy to not get grouped. So you would argue the last 16 would be a huge achievement, but they should be getting through the group. Every home nation should be getting through the group, even Canada and Mexico. When has England ever had a better squad? 2 players for every position. Spain or France doesn't have our squad depth. No, I'd agree with that. And I do think England's defence isn't as bad as what we think, but I'll be honest with you, Tuchel's just way off at the minute. He is absolutely way off. So, Tuchel does worry me, if I'm honest with you. Imagine... I hate to say it, but I think Tuchel is going to do a bad job. I'm embarrassed because I thought Tuchel would be the man. It ain't going to work. Trust me. Sorry. History is probably going to be in your favour there, JT. And I'll be honest with you, I'm feeling exactly the same in a minute. And I'm not worried now. I'm not worried about being pessimistic because I've been pessimistic as hell all summer, predicting England to go out. And every single time I've predicted England to go out, we've gone on and won it. So I'm liking that now. I'm on from a hat-trick at the World Cup. So if I predict England lose every game at the World Cup, we might actually win the damn thing. Imagine DNQing in a group of Serbia, Albania, Latvia and Andorra. Well, the thing is, Dom, is Serbia and Albania, and this is what I mean now. This is what I mean about European qualification. I guarantee you now, if the US, Mexico or Canada was in our group, they would struggle to top it. Remember, only the top team go through. Serbia and Albania are good teams. They are good teams. And I promise you now, the US, Mexico or Canada, or a lot of teams in CONCACAF would struggle to top this group. And I think that's where, and this is where the argument comes in case of, is the Euros a stronger tournament than the World Cup? Because I would argue, on average, the average team at the Euros is stronger than the average team at the World Cup. There's going to be a lot of filler teams there. Look, Serbia and Albania are a top team, and a lot of teams would struggle to get away and pick results up there. That's all I'm saying. It's not an excuse. I think England will still comfortably get through the group, but I'm a bit annoyed about how people are saying what an easy group, when a lot of people are from a lot of nations, particularly not in Europe, who would struggle to top this group. I think it's unfair to say we don't have a chance at winning next year, as our squad still is one of the strongest. No, I mean, we definitely have a chance. I mean, come on, we definitely have a chance. If I've said the opposite to that at any point, if I've ever said, we don't have a chance, I don't believe that. I genuinely don't believe that. We've 100% got a chance of winning it. Of course we have. it's just going to be incredibly difficult, like it should be, like it should be. I've got a feeling Howe will walk out of Newcastle and take the England job next year. I mean, look, I'd have Southgate back. I'd have Southgate back tomorrow, or I'd have Carsley. Calvin, can England beat Croatia, Spain? They did lose. I was worried that the women's would be the same as in 2023 Women's and World Cup 1-0 loss for England. I remember that. Yeah, I mean England can definitely beat Croatia. And look, we can beat Spain. We can beat Spain if we actually decide to give them a game. You've got the thing is about Spain. You've got to disrupt their play, and we just didn't do that in the Euros final. England will qualify, but it could be a playoff. We need a manager. Already sounds silly, I know, but I can see this not working. I mean, look, JT. All I would say is, if he goes to Serbia away and gets a result, everyone's happy then, aren't they? Because it's the only test. It's the only real test Tuchel's got. Maybe Albania away, but Serbia away is the only real test Tuchel's got between him getting the job and the World Cup. It's as simple as that. So I am literally putting a lot of eggs in one basket. The way England perform in that away fixture will very much set my mood for next summer's World Cup. I'm not too bothered about how we perform against your Latvias and Andorras. I still want us to win and win comfortably, but that Serbia away will tell me a lot about Thomas Tuchel and whether he's really got to grips with this team. And at the minute, I am worried because we've not seen. I mean, the Senegal game was embarrassing, so embarrassing. I know this may seem contradictory to what I might have said as Crystal Encore, but players matter far more in international football than managers. Possibly, yeah. If Tuchel craps up, seriously, he must be gone by Christmas. We can't afford another Capello. Well, Capello hung around far too long, didn't they? Managers have 3 to 6 weeks during a calendar year to coach players, so inevitably the players need individual quality to pull through the knockout. Look, I mean, the thing is about international football, it's not about coming up with some clever way of playing. I have said it time and time again on this channel. International football is about playing simple football and getting a bunch of strangers together in a short space of time, creating that positive atmosphere and just getting them to play for each other. And that's what Gareth Southgate did so well. He just made it comfortable for players to go and play for England. And that is half the battle. That is half the battle. Getting players wanting to turn up for their country and playing simple football. That is it. Miles Lewis-Skelly should be playing in midfield. He is like a mini Vieira, tackling, playing in the half turn, pace, dribbling with both feet. He's got everything. I'm a big Lewis-Skelly fan. Got to say, Rolling Stone, I'm with you there. Whether he plays in midfield, though, I don't know, but I think we need a left back, if we're honest with you. So stick him there. I worry about the media more than anything next year, as Southgate always seems to keep it under a relative decent control. And that's the thing, with him being German, the media doesn't take much, does it, for the media to turn on Tuchel and then the fans, and all of a sudden it becomes those camps, doesn't it, from the early 2000s where players don't really want to be there because all they do is turn up and get slated playing for the country, and that's what we want to avoid. I just don't think Tuchel knows what he's doing. Capello and Flick were world-class club managers but utter rubbish at international level. I agree. Walker, Burning Henderson, JT. Russell, hey up mate, how you getting on? Evening, we have to look at it as if we have 9 points out of 9. Serbia already drew with Albania when we had the chance to stake a claim. Albania is last game of campaign, we should be there by then. Yeah, I mean, I said earlier that hopefully Serbia and Albania are going to do us a favour. That draw that they played out was already done as a massive favour, if I'm honest with you. But the Serbia away game is huge. It really is. It is literally a difference between us absolutely coasting or it's a little bit more hard work for us. And ultimately, I think if we go to Serbia and avoid a defeat, we're happy, we're through, and it would be a good result. Let's get this on the floor now, on the table. Serbia away is a cracking result, and the amount of people from other nations, look at the English group. I'm telling you now, a lot of teams would struggle to go to Serbia and get a win, so it'd be a great result. I want us to win, and England should be winning. We have got a far better team than Serbia, but England aren't in a good place at the minute. We're not playing good football. We haven't done in a while. So I would take a draw in Serbia, 100%. Dom, it seems like the FA bowed to media pressure to get a winner, but ended up with someone who appears to think he can change and tinker endlessly. Tuchel needs to understand the difference. Absolutely. And I do think that's a little bit of the problem. I think he's trying to be too fine a detail with it. And I don't think international football needs that. I've said it time and time again. It just get them playing simple football. Tuchel, put round pegs in round holes and just play a simple system. Lewis Hall is back from injury, so maybe Lewis Skelly can move to midfield. Well, possibly. I mean, Lewis Hall, it's a big ask, though, for Lewis Hall to come back, isn't it? You know, I know everyone's like pinning everything on Lewis Hall, but he's been out for so long, so let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do. He's got to earn his place. Congratulations to England. I'm so happy now. Let's the men's win a World Cup. Let's go, but we have to beat France next year. Evening, Josh. Evening, mate. But yeah, look. The thing is England are going to have to beat one of those big nations, aren't we? We know that. We've got to beat one of the big nations. So let's see. But I mean, when's the group? So obviously the World Cup campaign, England's World Cup campaign, will conclude by the end of this calendar year. So it's there's a lot of games to come around in these last few months. England are going to avoid top seeds, so we're not going to have any hosts. We're going to avoid the other top seeds. So you'd hope England, you're going to get a difficult team in your group, but hopefully England are going to come through the group stage relatively comfortably. Then it's about who we get, doesn't it? In midfield in the summer. Who do we get in those knockout rounds? Can we finally beat one of those big nations? I was impressed with Alex Scott at the Euros. Him and Wharton could play that six. I'll tell you what I loved Hutchinson in the summer. Absolutely loved him. And that's the thing, is can some of those lads come up? Can some of those lads come up in the summer and stake a claim in the senior men's team? Josh, I love the shirt. Ordered the women's away one the other day after the final. Yeah, I got my partner the away one. It looks bang on as well. Honestly, there's much bigger problems facing the country than football. Most Premier International football tickets cost a fortune. Some fans spend $3,000 a year on travel and fit. Mate, Dom, that's why do you think I don't bother with club football, mate? It's gone. The game's gone. The game's absolutely gone. The reason why I even bother with club football is so I understand who could potentially be called up to the England senior team. The game is gone, mate. So I had to think this may be Kane's last World Cup with him being 33 for this tournament. I mean, look, we're going to have questions about Kane, aren't we? There's going to be this. I might do a poll actually on my community page saying, is Kane our starting striker? We have obviously got other options potentially coming through. Can another England striker stake the claim? I think that's one area where you could say you've got the gap. Don't forget ESTC tickets for Serbia at home going sale 7th of August. My England members 20th of August. General sale 1st September. Russell is always the man to keep you up to date with stats. Check out his podcast. Absolutely right. Serbia tickets on sale 7th of August. While you're on here, Russell, you getting mine? Let me know. I haven't messaged you about it, I don't think. Hutchinson could be a real breakout this season if he moves to the EPL. Doman could be a dark horse. Look, I just think he had a great summer. I really, really do. A really, really good summer. Oh, hang on. Sorry. That's me. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Kane 100% has to start in the World Cup. He's the best striker in the world. Don't have anyone as good as him, and I'm saying that as a huge Watkins fan. Good evening, Gary. I did my research. England has to play Andorra in a rematch for Euro 24 Serbia qualification. Look, yeah, we beat Serbia away from home. We've won the group. It's as simple as that. Kane has to start. Kane does have to start. I agree. And there's been a lot on this. People in this Sunday live stream that have come on before, and plenty of people that are arguing that Kane actually shouldn't be starting, and that we need to look for other players, coming up, and that, I think I can understand the frustrations people had with Kane over the summer. I think we all actually. Look, hold his hands up, most of us were probably calling for Kane to be dropped, wasn't we, in the Euros, because he just wasn't fit. But I think that's the key. He wasn't fit, or didn't appear to be fit. But he's 100% England's best player up front. I do, Josh. I do remember him. Yeah. How do you think Rashford will fare at Barcelona, Garrett? I think he'll do all right. I don't want... I wouldn't be picking Rashford. I just wouldn't be picking him. And I know he's very much a fan favourite because I think we know... Look, we know the player Rashford is. He's never going to be any better than what he is now. He's at his peak. He's at that age. He's been around a long time now. I just wouldn't have Rashford. I just wouldn't. Unless he's literally pulling up trees consistently. I'm just sick and tired of giving this man an opportunity after opportunity when we've got so much abundance of talent in those wide areas. Yeah, I don't know. Rashford's going to have a blinding season for me. But I'll be honest with you, I can't see him playing that many games. I've just got a feeling he just won't get games still. It's really odd. I hope he does, Josh. I really hope he does. So, yeah. I mean, good luck to him is the message. Good luck to him. Hope he can do it for England's sake. Yeah. I hope Delap has a good season at Chelsea. I think he's going to be... Because of his size as well, I think he's a great player if we could get him firing for next summer. Exactly. JT, you're hitting the nail on the head. I've always loved him, but I just feel like... Look, he's had his chance. He's had his chance, particularly when you see players like Palmer, who is still barely in double figures. And you just think, we've got to move on from Rashford now. No, I agree with you there, Josh. He's probably one of the strongest left sides, but hopefully we're gonna find a solution for that. So yeah, the FA messes up sacking Carsley. If we could get him back for the World Cup next year, we would smash everyone. The thing is, like, Lee Carsley is naturally the best next fit. So let's say, for example, it doesn't work out with Thomas Tuchel. I would much prefer Lee Carsley to come in than any other manager, than Howe, than anybody else. I would much prefer that. And Lee Carsley would be that natural progression. He did a great job in the end in the Nations League. So yeah, I would love to see that. Russell, yeah, no, he wasn't sacked, mate. I mean, he turned it down, basically. He just wanted to go back to the under-21s, didn't he? Whatever will be. Honestly, it won't change my mood depending on what England or Derby do in football. I'm an old-school type of guy who wishes only league champs go to European Cups. No, I don't blame you, Dom. I think a lot of people say that. FA didn't mess up with Carsley. He said in a press conference he was out of his depth and not wanting the role. It's a bit like Gareth Southgate, really. I mean, he didn't want the role, did he, when he first came in charge? And it was he almost adopted it with a reluctance. But he's got to be. All I would question is from the FA and Lee Cars is that if he isn't going to be the next progression or the next person leading up, it's like, you probably need to look now to change Carsley, because that's ideally what you want. You want the progression coming from the 21s. Even though he's winning trophies, you sort of want him to be stepping up. World Cup had 16 teams and Europe was just 8 nations. The FA would pick Carsley because he won't sing the national anthem. I don't think that's got anything to do with it. And in the grand scheme of things, not singing the national anthem, I'm not bothered. I'm really not bothered. I mean, I don't think Serena sang it and she's won us 2 trophies. Carsley, if he didn't win it, sing it. Sorry, I'm not particularly bothered. I'm not bothered. I just want us to win trophies. Simple as that. I'm not bothered who sings the trophy. I'll sing it, and that's all that matters. I like to see players sing it. Don't get me wrong, I do like to see players sing it, but it's not really the be-all and end-all, but I do like to see the players sing it. But if they don't and the winners a tournament, I ain't going to remember or care either way. Yeah, Russ, exactly. I don't think it is, mate. The whole Carsley was an idiot. In hindsight, I would have kept him and signed him until 2030. I don't think the FA were against that, Dom. I think it was a case of, I think he just felt out of his depth, and I don't think it was ever in the cards for him to stay as an England manager, really. I think the FA were looking at Tuchel probably for longer than what we think. Kazi is adaptable. He's far better tactician than Tuchel. Well, yeah, maybe I think he's certainly a better international manager than Tuchel at this moment in time, but he's had far longer doing it, hasn't he? It annoys me when players don't sing, but he couldn't care less about the manager. Yeah, I'm a little bit like that, Charlie, I'll be honest with you. And I don't know, look, it wouldn't be be an end all for me. You know, if a player doesn't sing it, I do feel a bit like, why aren't they singing it? Come on. But people are different. But all that matters is winning. It really is. You conquered the world in 1966. Sit down and be satisfied. Absolutely not. Ultimate Chakra. We are coming for another World Cup, mate. We will conquer the world again. We will not be satisfied with one World Cup. Exactly, Dom. Exactly. We will not be satisfied. We'll definitely be going for it. We want it. We can do it. It's just, yeah, there's a lot to do. What annoys me is the English women's team are always saying how proud they are to be English. You never hear that from the men's team. But what went viral and rather interesting, and I'll be honest with you, it was a bit of a breath of fresh air, was Chloe Kelly saying she was proud to be English. And I'll be honest with you, this sort of goes beyond football. If we're being honest, so obviously I am a proud Englishman. Now, for those that are English in the chat, and I'm assuming a lot of you, I don't know how many's in the chat, but I'm assuming, let's say, the vast majority of us in here are English. For those that don't know, being proud to be English at the minute, politically speaking, and without this going too deep here, but politically speaking in the UK, being proudly English does tend to have a stereotype of being quite a right-wing, extremist sort of perspective where you can't possibly have, not... Basically, if you're proud to be English, you're very much going to be linked with Tories and Farage and all that sort of stuff. And that's fine if you are. I'm not here to give my political opinion either way. But what I'm saying is for a lot of people that may not necessarily... There's a lot of people that might be proudly English, but the English flag is very much, particularly the English flag, not so much the Union Jack, but the English flag is very much hijacked by the far right in this country. Is probably a better way and less clumsy way for me to put it. So for mainstream public figures playing for their country to come out and say they are proudly English, we hear it a lot. We hear a lot of people say they're proudly British. You see the Brit Awards and all that sort of stuff. You get that quite a lot. We don't often hear that people say they're proud to be English. And a lot of people wouldn't say that because they feel it paints them in a certain picture and things like that. And I think that's where that Chloe Kelly thing came from, because it transcends football, really. It really does. It's not really about the players saying it. It's about the wider context in terms of famous people or people in general genuinely saying that they are proud to be English without then being accused of being far right or whatever. I mean, just for context, for those that aren't English, if I was to display a St. George's cross outside of my house when a tournament wasn't on, but if I had a flagpole in my garden and an England flag on it, not always, but it would tend to be stereotyped that actually someone living there would probably like far right, extreme politics, and so on and so on and so on. And it's not a case of, obviously that is the case for some people, and it's okay if that's what you like, as long as it's not extreme either way. But people have their political opinions, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not saying where I sit at all. But I think that's one of the reasons why it went so broad, that clip from Chloe Kelly saying that. It was... Yeah, it's just something that you don't see often in this country, and it was quite refreshing. It was quite refreshing. So I think that's probably where that came from, and the reception that got was so strong. And this is why we don't hear a lot of our footballers or other sports people come out and proudly say that they're English, actually, because it does have that negative connotations linked to it. Gary, when Tuchel comes under very heavy pressure by Christmas, would you let Carl took us to the World Cup, I'd take a deep breath and say, yeah, I would. What about? Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I would, mate. I mean, if we're really struggling in, I don't know. I mean, look, if for whatever happened, if there was some extreme set of circumstances that by Christmas Thomas Tuchel wasn't England manager, I would be more than happy of Tuchel taking England to the World Cup. Absolutely. I don't think that will happen, but I would be more than happy for that to happen. Men's football is far too corporate and globalised now. Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a topic for another day, but it is dangerous, crowd, Russell. I hope I negotiated it quite well, but I think what I was trying to get at is why that clip went so viral. And I'll be honest with you, this sort of comes from following England as well. When I tell people I follow England to home games, and I've said I've been to one away game and stuff like that, I'll be honest with you, people do take that split second. You can see it. They're weighing you up, because particularly supporting the England football team definitely had very negative connotations over years gone by in terms of your beliefs and all that lot. So, and that's the reason why I'm bringing it up, because I don't like that. Whether I believe in that sort of thing or I don't, it's just, I think the stereotype of people who are proud to be English doesn't actually fit the reality. And I think there's a lot of people out there that want to say they're proudly English, but don't necessarily want to be labelled either way. And I think that's probably why. And ultimately, and without sounding all a bit weird and woke and stuff, but it's about us reclaiming that flag, because I do think English people in particular, I feel like that flag is a little bit more of a difficult proposition for us to wave and be proud of, unlike other nations, and that's disappointing for me. The FA don't see England as a football team; they see them as a brand. That's the problem. I mean, mate, 100%. But that's football, I'm afraid, mate. All football clubs and teams are brands now. They're more, the corporates, aren't they? They prefer the rainbow or a certain black, white, green, red flag. Hence, why the far right and centre right has such a pull on nationalism. Okay, Russell, oh, good, mate. Thanks, mate. Wall line, rubbish to the left, and to the left, anyone right of Tories are far right, and Tories are more central than ever. Proudly wear the St. George. Yeah, I mean, obviously, guys, we're not going to get into politics. I am not giving my political opinion at all. I'm just giving my perspective on the St. George's Cross and saying you're proud to be English. I could be wrong there. People might think I'm absolutely talking bollocks, what I've just said, but I do feel like there is that perception about the St. George's Cross that ultimately I'm trying to claim back. And the St. George's Cross, to me, isn't political. It's just the fact that I'm proud to be English. But for a lot of people, it is. Is Thomas a good choice as a coach? Is he a good alternative? Can he beat good teams next year? And how many can they win the final next year under his leadership? What happens if they struggle? Look, I mean, ultimately, it's one of those where, I mean, Thomas Tuchel's already coming out and saying he's enjoying managing England. I don't know why, because he's been absolutely slated since he's taken the job on, and he's done really poorly, if I'm honest with you. So he's been under a lot of pressure since he's taken the gig on. But I don't know if he's been trolling fans since that Senegal game, saying he would happily take it on for longer term. But the plan is, as far as everyone's concerned at the minute, is that the plan is there until next summer, and that is it. That is it. I don't think we should be looking at Thomas Tuchel renewing his contract unless it's the very least a semi-final, the very least. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I put English as my nationality on forums. Great stuff. I saw the USA, Mexico, and Canada video. USA has a better chance. The St. George's flag should be purely identity, but some see it as a political, even though I don't see it as such. Yeah, and that's my point. That's my point, Dom. In England, we have always had a distrust of fair players. Curry, Hudson, Beardsley, Hoddle, Letizia, Scholes, etc., and many more. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I thought you said fair players then, but flair players. Yeah, maybe. I think that's changed now. I think England are right where they need to be in world football. I think we produce top players. We're playing some of the best football. We've definitely caught up technically. I think there was a thing in the past where England with the ball weren't quite as strong as some European nations. I think that's gone well out the window over the past 10, 15 years. I think England are exactly where we need to be. I just think it's just the fine moments. I do honestly think it is just those fine moments where we just need to get over the line. We just 100% need to get over the line, and it's just, I know it's easier said than done, but yeah, The thing is, it's like it's becoming frustrating when we're winning everything else, and it's just that men senior that we're just desperate. I mean, the World Cup's the World Cup, but I always say the fact that England have never won the Euros is just, I think that's absolutely an outrageous statistic. Honestly, it's ridiculous. We should have won 2 or 3. It's madness. So I think that's the one for me. I'm desperate for either, but I'd love to see us win the Euros. Obviously, I'd love to see us win the World Cup, but I think the World Cup is always a different kettle of fish. Calvin, Gary, question before I go. What happens if we get the same 2 teams, Argentina offensive, England 4 short in the quarters? Then he goes, mate. Then he goes. And it's the same old problem, isn't it? It's the same old problem. If we get France, Spain or Argentina and fail to beat them and lose in those fine margins again, then it's the same problems we've had for 60 years and we've moved no further forward. It's as simple as that. And that's football. That's sport. That is sport. Ultimately, it can be cruel. You can say we were the better team, like we were against France, and I firmly believe that we were a better team in those 90 minutes. But if you don't win, you don't win, and it's all about winning. And it just comes back to that mentality and everything like that. So, if that's what happens, Thomas Tuchel, he hasn't done the job he was brought in for, and it's as brutal as that. The 1995 Bosman rule ended foreign player quotas and enabled football to embrace globalism. Rolling Stone, the English media should be demanding Tuchel to play Wharton. He is as English as Pirlo. Look, I think just trust the process with Adam Wharton. I think it was disappointing that he didn't go to the under-21s this summer, but I understand he had concussion or something. I know he wasn't fit. But look, there's plenty of time for Wharton to come back and come into this team. He's got a full season ahead of him now. Let's see where it goes. Do you think, Gary, a player will come out of nowhere to make the World Cup? Yeah, honestly, 100%. They always do. There's always a player, isn't there? There's a player right now that we may be aware of, but certainly not looking at as getting anywhere near the plane, and they'll have a great season. 100%. There's always one, at least. And let's be real, there's probably going to be a player that we would pick now who is a cert, who is probably going to drop off. This is football. This is sports, guys. Not everyone who's been performing amazing is going to continue to perform amazing, and ultimately you're going to get some other young, exciting players that are going to come through. So, for example, who would have picked Lewis Skelly out at the beginning of last season? That's one prime example. So, absolutely, players will come out of nowhere like they always will. The problem is will it be too late? Will it be a little bit, too little too soon? Will Thomas Tuchel trust them, given the fact that his mandate is to win the World Cup? If it's a player who's a young player, can he really risk taking them? Is he going to go with experience? It seems like he is going to go with experience. So if you've got a player coming through, is Tuchel likely to pick him? I don't know. I mean, you're probably going to have to say he's going to have to play out of his skin, doesn't it, to be picked? We need another Serena Vieman to lead the men's football team. Does she have a twin? I wonder, says Paul. Yeah, I mean, look, she's got it right, but I just go back to international football. It's just plain simple football within a short space of time, putting round pegs in round holes and being reactive rather than proactive. And I think that was the one thing that Southgate was rightly criticised for. It was proactive rather than reactive. He was too reactive to events rather than proactive. So yeah, let's see. Bye, Calvin. Have a good evening. Football has become homogenised, except some exceptions like Spain and Italy. A lot of very similar playing styles and fewer flair players now. Enjoy your day, Calvin. Lewis Hall at left back, linking up with Eze on the left wing. I want to see it. I mean, Eze's one who you're probably looking at. Can he now have that real big season that we want from him? If Kwanzaa has a good season at Leverkusen, then he should be on the plane. I thought he was superb at the Euros. Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's some players there that hopefully have good seasons because we need them to, because there's some gaps, particularly in those defensive areas. We need a good, solid centre-back pairing to be established between now and next summer as well. Because Maguire and Stones, it's just a bit like they're surely coming towards an end now. England's got the players. There's a long time, though. 12 months is a long time, or just shy of 12 months now is a long time. Yeah, I mean JT. I think let's see what he does. The Serbia away game. Look, let him experiment against teams that he knows he's going to beat, and then in friendly is fine. Serbia away. Hopefully, he knows what he's doing. Right, guys. I am going to call it there. Excuse me. I will be dropping a video this week looking back at this summer. So please check that out. Let me know if you've got any video ideas you want me to cover or anything like that. There is a little bit of a gap between now and the next international break, but well, not too long. A handful of weeks actually. Don't forget to pick up your Serbia tickets that are going on sale in a week or so. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you all so much as well for watching my videos over the summer, particularly Lionesses ones that I've done quite well. So thank you all so much for that. Hope you all have a great week, whatever you are doing. And yeah, the road to the World Cup now continues. But what a summer as England fans. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And hope, really, England men's senior team can surprise us next season the same way the under-21s and the Lionesses have this year. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done and you've been watching, or please share these videos. Let's get the word spreading. Let's keep building this community ahead of the World Cup. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on my